Hey, what's up, everyone? You are watching or listening to my comic book journey podcast. I'm your host, KNDY, and we shall go back to the year 1975 with the Defenders from Marvel Comics. And this one's written by Steve Gerber, penciler Sal Buscema, inker was Vince Colletta, colorist was Irene Vartanoff, letterer Gaspar Saladino, and Karen Mantlo, and editor was Len Wein. So let's go ahead and discuss this issue. Okay, this is number 26, and I had to apologize because usually I should have done this before 27 and 28, but somehow I was going through the pile and I'm like, wait a minute, 26 is, why is this after 30s? And I'm like, oh man, now I have to. I sometimes you kind of with a huge collection and so many comic books, sometimes you get things mixed up and then you have to redo or do things out of order. But I think it's okay. It's okay because on YouTube, a lot of people do search things, and if you are going through going through my archive right here of podcast episodes or certain comic book titles, if you're typing the title like the Defenders, I'm sure you can pick out the issue that you're looking for. But I apologize in advance that this is a little out of order. So it's like 27, 28, and then 26. And this one is important because it deals with the Guardians of the Galaxy making their appearance on the Defenders. And again, this is not the Guardians of the Galaxy that most of you are familiar with in the MCU, but the original Guardians of the Galaxy does show up in the movies, but they're not exactly the characters you see now. I think you probably saw it in the second movie with Sylvester Stallone and Yondu, and possibly the characters right at the end, of the ending credits and so forth. They make their appearance, but they are not exactly the the main protagonists of the Guardians of the Galaxy in the movies. But back then in Marvel Comics, these guys were the superheroes that a lot of people read. Pretty much, they are the last living survivors of their planets, and this we'll get into that. So let's talk about the Defenders issue 26. So as you can see here, you can see the whole Doctor Strange, Valkyrie, and my gosh, why do I keep on forgetting his name? Nighthawk. That's it. I keep on forgetting. You know what? Certain characters I get confused as Nighthawk and the other one, Dark Knight. I don't know why. I just keep on getting him. I mean, they look obviously different, but I guess for the Avengers and the Defenders, those two characters they just don't stand out for me, I guess. I don't know. But they look cool. I've always enjoyed those characters and the costume. It's just that these days I don't think about them as much. I'm not saying that they're not popular. It's just that, I don't know. I guess maybe they didn't make that much of an impact, while reading them. But anyway, so this issue is about how the Guardians of the Galaxy ended up in the present time, or 1975 time of planet Earth, and because of that, Earth is going through some major changes, like earthquakes in areas that should not have earthquakes. And it starts off with Valkyrie, and her trying to explain to Jack Norris that she's the Valkyrie that is now in the body of his his wife, Barbara Norris. But Barbara Norris is gone, and he doesn't believe it. Says that's a bunch of he thinks it's all, she's going crazy, and he tries to kiss her to say, hey, I'm your husband. She gets pissed off, saying, hey, don't you dare do that again, or else. She's just trying to tell him that the Enchantress put her in his wife's body, and she has no control of it. The Barbara that he knew is gone. So that was an interesting thing. there was an earthquake. She comes with her flying horse, and she saves his butt. But meanwhile, on the Earth, the Guardians of the Galaxy's spacecraft has crashed, and of course you have the American military, National Guard, guarding the whole UFO, trying to figure out who's in it and why are the words Captain America on it. Well, while they're looking at video footage, they see that Martinez, he's the Diamond-like character, walking out with young Vance Astrovic. So Vance Astrovic is Vance Astro, and pretty much with this character, they end up bringing Martinez and the young Vance Astrovic to the ship, and the current Vance Astro and the young child of Vance Astrovic. You got to remember that Vance Astro is like 1,000 years old. He is a character that pretty much is wrapped in copper foil, his whole body, because he could survive. And he's no longer the same. You could see him in the bottom right with the white and with the blue all over his body. It's just how things are. Things change later on, though. If you keep on reading the comic books, so you'll see how that's changed. But anyway, you could see Yondu there. You could see Martinez. You could see what's his name again? The last human from Jupiter, Charlie 27. That's it. So again, these people are the last survivors, and Vance Astrovic was trying to explain what happened to him. So he explains that, and it's something that's kind of relevant to what's happening now with the ozone layer. And he said that a lot of people were using aerosol cans, spray for their hair, which has been damaging the ozone. And because the ozone was damaged, people started getting cancer. Cancer started to increase from the 1980s. Bear in mind, this is created in 1975, so this is interesting predictions right here. And then it goes to explain that because that people are suffering from cancer, the only way to make humanity survive is to use bionic technology for people to get rid of cancer. But then, people using robotics to make these cybernoids, or using cybernetic technology. There was a war, and then this led to a nuclear power plant exploding, which caused humanity, destroy technology. But then after that rose the conglomerates, I guess you could say, these nations that came together to start over again. But when they started over again, they were attacked by the aliens from Mars. And after that, there was a hero that fought against them. And then after that, the Badoon came, and then it repeated again with humanity getting slaughtered and enslaved. And so these guys are pretty much the last survivors of their planets, and that were crushed by the Badoon. And now they're trying to fight back and save humanity. So that is way in the future, in year 3017 or so, or 3075, I forgot. But yeah, this is an interesting storyline, especially how the planet Earth would succumb because of the ozone layer. And it's really interesting because the discussion of the ozone layer, for me, I remember them talking about it maybe in the 90s or so, about how, from cows to aerosol and things that are poisoning, or even the industries poisoning the air and causing the layer of the ozone. Heck, it's not even that long ago. I recall that they were talking about, with the pandemic, how when industries shut down and air started to become much more cleaner. I remember that, and that was just back in 2020, 2021. But this is from 1975, and they're talking about how cancer would increase because of the ozone layer, the lack of protection, and that's still being discussed now. We know that skin cancer has definitely increased, or people are definitely talking about it, and all these types of cancers are now evident. And who knows what it may be, but I think it's just a really interesting tale of how they got into that in this issue. But for the most part, yeah, it's a solid issue. I think the Guardians of the Galaxy, the 26, 27, 28, these issues are kind of a little pricey. So hopefully you can still find them at a good price. Um, but it's one of those few issues where you saw the Guardians of the Galaxy team up with a superhero team. In this case, the Defenders. I do know in the past there was a collaboration with The Thing and Captain America. Forgot what issue that was, um, but yeah, these. If you ever have a chance to check out the Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm not talking about the new ones that are that the movie is based on, but I'm talking about the classic '70s through the '90s Guardians of the Galaxy. Definitely wonderful books worth checking out. As in terms of the Defenders, you get. I mean, it's okay. Doctor Strange primarily plays the major part, while Nighthawk is like the techno guy. So I'm like, how does he know how to use all these futuristic equipment? And then, of course, you have Dr. Bruce Banner, well, the Hulk, and he's still in his mindless form, trying to figure out how people from the future ended up in their present. He doesn't understand that, and it's bugging him for someone who's like, you know, not really, not really smart. Bruce Banner is smart. Green Hulk, depending on which incarnation he is, you'll see levels of his intelligence, and this one not so smart. But for the most part, yeah, this was an interesting issue, and it's a little prophetic. So I found that very, very interesting. Okay, everyone, you take care, and I will see you later. This is again The Defenders, issue 26 from August 1975 from Marvel Comics. Okay, everyone, take care. Bye bye. Wink, wink, and later, everyone. Bye bye.